and in Barbados. And this is scheduled for August 22nd this month. 2 p.m. Ghana time and 10 a.m. Barbados time. The Barbados Church is being represented by St. George Parish Church, and Christ Church Lagos is being represented in Accra. The theme for the service is transforming the Middle Passage from an abyss of darkness to a rail of hope. The Anglican Church in West Africa, and for that matter, Africa and Barbados, have a common history, which one could point to individual moments of deep humanity. St. George Parish observes the season of emancipation from July ending to August ending. In Ghana, we have the 1948 riots and the looting, which led to the struggle of our independence, 1957, and we gaining our Republican status in 1960. As a way of bringing these two countries together, Barbados, before the end of the year, will open its High Commission in Ghana, and a number of activities have been lined up to usher in the opening of the High Commission. Among them is a virtual church service. Today's press briefing is to throw more light on this service and other events that are likely to follow the church service. In the studios of Adwa TV in Ghana and in Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, we have assembled prominent people to discuss the virtual church service scheduled for 22nd of August. And we have the permanent secretary for Barbados, Simon Rada, Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, which is a very big two portfolios joined together. Then we have Senator, the Reverend Dr. John Rogers. Then we have our Venerable Ebenezer Lai. Then we have Sanka Price, CEO for Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. I hope I'm right. Then we have Reginald Frepon Answer again from the Adwa TV. He will also be talking on the relationship between the two stations. Distinguished gentlemen and lady, you are all welcome to this press conference. Let me start with you, Permanent Secretary, Simon Rada. Simon Rada, can you give us a brief overview of the opening of the mission in Ghana?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Let me start by wishing all participants in today's press conference a good morning and a good afternoon from beautiful Barbados. Senator Reverend Dr. Rogers, Venerable Major Ebenezer Lai, Mr. Sherwin McCaskey, ladies and gentlemen of the international press, it is truly a pleasure to join you today as we meet to reflect on the importance of the virtual combined church service, which will be held on August 22nd, involving the congregations of the St. George Parish Church here in Barbados and the Christ Church Ligon Church in Ghana. I'd like to share a few thoughts with you on the significance of this church service in the context of the bilateral relationship between Barbados and the Republic of Ghana. As you're all aware, Ghana and Barbados have a historical connection which is anchored in history and forged in blood. The initial interaction between Barbados and Ghana dates from the mid-17th century, when we were both cogs in the transatlantic slave trade system. Virtually all historians agree that the Africans who were transported against their will across the Atlantic Ocean to Barbados came predominantly from a geographical region that stretched from modern-day Ghana to Gabon, and it is very strongly believed that the epicenter of that forced migration was the region between Ghana and the Cross River Delta in Nigeria. Therefore, Ghana is the ancestral home of Barbadians and Ghanaians are literally blood brothers and sisters. It is therefore very fitting that the theme of the August 22nd church service is, as we just heard, transforming the Middle Passage from an abyss of darkness to a ray of hope. Because on August 23rd, the day designated by UNESCO to commemorate the International Day of Remembrance of the Transatlantic Slave Trade and its abolition, we will be remembering this Middle Passage. Ladies and gentlemen, Barbados has long recognized Ghana as a key African partner with whom we want to develop closer relations. And this is due to Ghana's historical connections, its geographical location as a gateway to West Africa, and its stable political and economic climate. In June 2019, the President of Ghana, His Excellency Mr. Nana Akufo-Addo, paid a state visit to Barbados. And in November 2019, Prime Minister Mia Motley paid a return visit to Ghana. Today, Ghana and Barbados enjoy a strong partnership, which is constantly moving from strength to strength. In recent times, Barbados has launched various initiatives aimed at bringing the two countries closer together. These initiatives include the dispatch of cultural delegations to Ghana, the signature of an MOU between the University of the West Indies and the University of Ghana, the establishment of a Barbados-Ghana Chamber of Commerce, the presence in Barbados of a team of nurses from Ghana, and the opening in Accra of one of Barbados's first diplomatic missions on the African continent. And on this matter of the opening of Barbados's High Commission in Accra, I wish to note that Mrs. Juliette Bab Riley has been named as our Chargée d'Affaires, and she will be assuming duties in Accra later this month. Other staff members, including Mr. Phil Phillips, who is on this call, and Ms. Rosalind Luke Harrison, will also be traveling from Barbados to Ghana, to Accra, in this month of August. I note that Barbados and Ghana have pledged, in addition to what we've done already, we have pledged to deepen engagement in a variety of areas, such as diversified business linkages, increased trade flows, robust investment activity, value propositions in the creative industry sector, and enhanced tourism exchanges. However, at the very core of the ability of Barbados and Ghana to maintain the momentum to achieve the fullest potential of the bilateral relationship will be our people-to-people exchanges. And the August 22nd virtual church service represents a very important bridge in this respect. I'm told that the symbol of the Sankofa bird epitomizes the story of I'm told about the symbol of the Sankofa bird, which represents an exhortation to go back to the past and bring forward that which is good and useful for the future. I believe that this symbol of the Sankofa bird epitomizes the story of Barbados and Ghana. The direction in which Barbados's and Ghana's Sankofa bird is walking will lead us to a bright future, where partnership, collaboration, and integrated initiatives will bring development, growth, and prosperity for our two countries and our two peoples. Therefore, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade would like to extend a special invitation to Barbadians and Ghanaians at home and around the globe to participate in the church service on Sunday, August 22nd. It will commence at 10 a.m. Barbados time. Of course, due to COVID protocols, we know that limited physical seating will be available within the respective churches. However, there is no limit to how many persons on both sides of the Atlantic can click the link, which will be publicized over the next few weeks in order to reserve their own very special pew at home. I'm advised that the link will be made widely available, including on the Facebook pages of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade of Barbados and also on CBC News Barbados. In closing, I'd like to express the appreciation of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade to the organizing committee of the virtual church service, which has labored so hard and assiduously under the co-chairmanship of the Venerable Major Ebenezer Leahy from the Christ Church Legon in Accra, and Senator Reverend Dr. John Rogers from the St. George Parish Church in Barbados, in St. George. The ministry also wishes to salute the commitment to collaboration on the part of the Anglican Churches of Accra and Barbados, as evidenced by the support of the Right Reverend Dr. Daniel Silvanus Mensah Torto, and the bishop, who is the Bishop of Accra, and the Bishop of Barbados, the Right Reverend Michael Bruce St. John Maxwell. We are also very happy to have the involvement of the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation TV Channel 8 in this virtual service and carrying this press conference, which it will carry live as well as it is doing the press conference today. We look forward to CBC continuing to be a close partner of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade in showcasing the work of our overseas diplomatic missions. And we are also aware of the close involvement of the broadcasting arm of the Anglican Church of Accra via Adore TV, and we thank you for this participation in this important event. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Permanent Secretary. We are most grateful for the insight that you've given us. Now, let me turn to Reverend Dr. John Rogers. Why a church service and the relevance of the theme, transforming the middle passage from an abyss of darkness to a ray of hope to this service? What's the relevance? Can you take us through?
Thank you very much. Good day, my esteemed panelists, and good morning to Barbados, and good afternoon to Ghana, and a good day to all those who are joining us throughout Africa and in other parts of the diaspora. The idea of the church service I would like to claim, but the reality is that once the Barbados government had announced its special relationship with Ghana and announced their commercial and cultural attaché, Mr. Phil Phillips, he immediately reached out to me about the possibility of having this faith link with Ghana. And since the Anglican Church already exists as a communion, it was the easiest conduit through which we can have this link. At St. George, as has been mentioned before, we do observe a period of emancipation, because one of the things we seek to do is to sensitize our people about who they are in order for them to reach that place of self-actualization in this world. And so we toyed with some dates as to when this church service would be best positioned. And we were talking about Easter, we talked about Pentecost, but then I suggested the season of emancipation because it would be a good contact point for us, given our histories as countries, and particularly the Sunday closest to the International Day of the Remembrance of the Slave Trade and its abolition. And out of that was formed a committee in which I was able to meet some wonderful people in Ghana, including the Venerable Archdeacon Ebenezer Lera, who got together and we planned the theme for this service, which is transforming the middle passage from an abyss of darkness to a ray of hope. For those of us who have even a little knowledge of the transatlantic slave trade, the middle passage was a place, it was a journey that many were not expected to survive. And we're told that many, when they lost the hope of a return to their country and the prospects of what met them in this new place to which they were going, they used the middle passage as their graveyard. And so it has always been a very dark place for us, a place that collectively we've tried to forget. But what we've realized is that to forge true and meaningful bonds, we have to confront the past, and we have to deal with the harrowing experiences of the past. And perhaps we can transform this middle passage to something better, where we look across the Atlantic in the other direction, and it becomes a ray of hope, where we can link with our ancestral ties, our ancestral brothers and sisters, not only through our faith, but through commerce and through culture. And we're hoping that this would be the start of something much greater, where not only our faith links us, but our culture and our commerce and everything. And we begin to see ourselves as one again, as we really are. All that has happened is that we've been separated by time. And so this particular church service will seek to encapsulate that concept of transforming the Middle Passage from an abyss of darkness to a ray of hope. So it will include, on the Barbadian side, for example, the only indigenous faith group that has emerged from amongst us, the Rastafarian community. Some members of the Rastafarian community will be present at this service, the members of the Nyabingi movement, and we look forward to them offering a bit of their ministry in this service. We'll also have the St. Leonard's Boys Choir, which is a internationally acclaimed boys choir from Barbados. And then we'll have one of our cultural icons, His Excellency, the Honorable Anthony Gabby Carter, who will be a part of that service as well. But included in it, we will have a presentation by Minister Colin Jordan on one of his pet projects that he has been dealing with, which has been the recognition of Kofi, a Ghanaian who was proclaimed King of Barbados back in the 18th century through an uprising, but it was put down immediately and Kofi's Ashanti stool was destroyed, etc. We'll incorporate that into the service as well. And I'm sure Archdeacon will also mention some of the aspects that will come from the Ghanaian side. And inclusive will be a link between our diocese, the Diocese of Barbados and the Diocese of Accra. And we will have Bishop Daniel Torto and Bishop Michael Maxwell making presentations. The sermon on that day will come from both sides of the Atlantic. And so we'll have an opportunity to reflect on how this experience has impacted us from both sides. And it will be incorporated into our readings, one of which is from Genesis 45, verses 1 through to 8, which is the reunion between Joseph and his brothers, which is that touching moment when they all broke down in tears and recognizing that the past was the past and now, at last, we're reunited. And this is the hope we have from this service, that this will be the beginning of something much greater. I am delighted that St. George Parish Church has been chosen to host this service on this part of the Atlantic, because we happen to be the oldest existing ecclesiastical building in the island, but is also the heart of the plantocracy. And so it is also a transformative moment for us, because I am only the third Black rector of St. George, and it has been around since 1641. So that tells us the type of history we're dealing with. And there's so many moving parts involved in this service. And we look forward to the transformative element that it can be for generations to come. Thank you.
That is very, very excellent. And in fact, I've been moved by this presentation, and I can't wait for 22nd of August to see how the whole event unfolds. And in fact, it's very, very moving. Thank you very much, Senator Rogers, for the insight. On my immediate left, I have a Venerable Lai. Can you please add up to the presentation by Senator Rogers what we have also prepared for the 22nd?
Thank you very much. Following all protocols, may I also send the warm greetings from Ghana to our colleagues in Barbados and in the diaspora who have the opportunity of watching us. It has been a very joyous preparation up to this stage. And in fact, I was just whispering to Father Chris Ashon that as after our rehearsal, I was thinking of this Sankofa bed, which P.S. Simon Rada mentioned. It's appropriate for this event that is going to take place. And we've come out with a very unique liturgy for this service. It's not the usual mass or matins or even song that we have, but it's a creation between myself and Senator Rogers. And we intend to portray a lot of culture and diversity. Like Senator mentioned, we're going to feature certain aspects of our culture. And we've gone for the Ghana dance ensembles, which would portray variety of Ghanaian culture, if not African culture. The Accra Northeast Art Deaconry happens to be the youngest art deaconry in the Diocese of Accra, and my Lord Bishop chose us to host and coordinate this program. And it's in the center of our pioneer university, University of Ghana, and though it's among intelligentsia, when you get to that service, they are low, I mean, they are down to earth. They don't raise themselves. They are very hospitable, and we'll be glad to have you have a feel of Christ Church, Legon. Further to that, we all know that services are aided or participated by choir with organs, with pipe organ or whatever. In addition to that, we have a special group we call the Sebe 11. It's from one of our parishes on the coast, St. Paul's Church, La. And they'll lead in singing our common hymns supported by the local traditional drums. And it's a joy and meditative to participate in such a service. And I'm also glad that we are bringing an aspect of Kofi into this history. We have his counterparts in Ghana, the Yasanto of the Ashantis, the Dede Akai of the Ghana people, and others. And I know that indeed we are going to replay culture and history, and it will serve as a time of reflection, a time of meditation, and a time of reviewing our past. When Kofi issue came up, what I said was that indeed, a nation which does not honor its heroes is not worth dying for. Kofi has been away all this while. Yasanto has been away all this while. The Akai has been away all this while. But if their effort has never made or imprinted in us, then their effort would have been in vain. So I think it's appropriate that we have them. We have a person like Kofi having us Ghanaians being educated about. Like I said, the readings also is virtual. So the first reading will come from Barbados, the second reading will come from Ghana, like he mentioned. And in Ghana, we are still using the ancient and modern. So we are going to feature two traditional rulers. Niamakai, the Jaseche of Asren. When you say Jaseche, the committee of elders which appoint a chief. And Asren is one of the 7 quarters of the Ghana states. The Jaseche will be speaking. And when you come to the second traditional elder will be Ni Kwabna Boni, the 5th. In fact, it was Nico Boni, the 3rd, who led the looting. They ignited Ghana's independence. You know, it started long since, but in 1948, he championed the looting and brought the awareness, followed by these ex-servicemen who had returned from war, who also stood up against the colonizers, and then the politicians like Kwame Nkrumah also play his very significant role in getting our independence and later into a republic. So Niamakai the 3rd, he's the Judge of Asren, who is speaking, and Nico Boni the 5th, the Usu Alata Manche. In fact, where the castle is situated, he is the landlord of where the Osu Castle, the Christian Board Castle, is situated. And looking at our past history and interactions, they have to say a word so that we could heal our past. And like I said, I've been saying always, it brought separation between us and our relations in Barbados. And every separation is so sorrowful, and it's not a good thing to recollect. And as much as we want to heal ourselves, we hope that better things will come out of it. Yes, this service is coming on, and it will be a re-establishment of cordial relationship and participation of events are yet to come. Our Ghana Dance Ensemble, which is an official cultural group in Ghana, which will be performing, would display culture from the north to the south, from the east to the west. So they will herald the arrival of the dignitaries, and as well as before the bishops speak, they'll come out with some drumming to herald them, as well as the traditional leaders. I eagerly look forward to participating in this service, and so I hope with all others. So let's keep our dial open. It's 2 o'clock Ghana time and 10 o'clock Barbados time. And it should be very memorable and very spiritual. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Venerable. Very happy that you've also equally given the Ghanaian aspect, and we can't wait to see these things unfold. Communication, as we all know, is a very powerful tool in changing the mindset of people. You know, whatever we do, we must bring in communication, and that is, you know, an avenue, a channel that can reorient people. Now, fortunately for us, we've had 2 big stations on this program, the CBC and then Adua TV. First, to the CEO or the acting CEO of Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation. Now, what role will CBC be playing in all these schemes of emancipation, the issue of mental slavery, giving away of ray of hope to our citizens, and in relationship to the church service that we are about to organize come 22nd of August? You know, what role are you playing in, you know, and how can we play it in such a way that it will bring some sort of awareness to our viewers, our listeners, and to our various citizens?
Good morning and good afternoon. Well, thank you very much, sir. In short, CBC will retain all the pleasure in transmitting these events to the viewers here in Barbados. I'm going to put it in historical context briefly. P.S. Rudder, in her address, made mention of the fact that the President of the Republic of Ghana visited Barbados, and then there was the exchange visit with our Prime Minister, the Honorable Mayor Motley, visiting Ghana. And interestingly enough, in an address to the Ghanaian Parliament on Friday, November the 15th, 2019, our Prime Minister, the Honorable Mayor Amor Motley, noted that Barbados and Ghana had established formal diplomatic relations only in 1994. And the interactions between the 2 countries over the last 26 years have been friendly but never close. The Prime Minister went on to say that we now must determine whether we want to be close, and it is up to us to build this Atlantic bridge based on our common heritage. Now, I think all of us are well aware that if you wish to build anything, you need a toolkit. And as it relates to building that Atlantic bridge, connecting Barbados with the Republic of Ghana, in that toolkit must be the media. And that must include the traditional media of radio and television. So the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation here in Barbados is pleased. We are delighted that you have chosen us to be the conduit through which the cultural exchange between Barbados and the Republic of Ghana will be facilitated. Interestingly enough, this is providing us with yet another opportunity to fulfill our mandate as the national broadcaster here in Barbados, that of educating and informing the public. And most definitely, that is also providing a platform for our people to learn and explore the many possibilities that such an exchange will afford the people of these two nations, as we, with a sense of pride and duty, build that bridge between Barbados and Ghana. In short, CBC takes this responsibility seriously and hopes that this is just the first of many where Barbados will be brought to the Republic of Ghana and the Republic of Ghana is brought to Barbados. I thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Ghana gained its independence 64 years ago. Reginald, if you're around. We in Ghana are still talking about colonialism and neo-colonialism. How do we leave such an era and create a new ray of hope for our people? Reginald?
Thank you, moderator. If you can hear me, I am speaking for my boss, Reginald, and I'm most grateful for the opportunity. And as you rightly made mention of, we are facing issues concerning colonialism and neo-colonialism in these times. And the conversation has been buzzing as to what are we really looking out for or the trends we are going in. But media has provided us opportunity in between the conversations to strike a balance in all that we are doing. As to whether we are going to be centered on the woes or the horrific stories of colonialization, or we are still going to be at the mercy of new colonization, it depends on the relationship that we create within ourselves and other African countries or people from the diaspora. In moving forward, I believe that the conversation of creating the friendliness and the relationship between Ghana and Barbados will be strengthening more precisely if we have media participating in the projection on the friendliness of these media institutions or this relationship. Adult television here in Ghana was established about 5 years ago, where the Lord Bishop of the Anglican Diocese of Accra, Right Reverend Daniel Santoto, saw the need, that there's a need to reach out to congregants through the media space. Over the period, aside the evangelical duties of the channel, we've been able to adopt like a national blueprint to speak on national matters, educational issues, issues concerning culture, among other things. I'm most grateful hearing the initial speakers talk about how Ghana has become the ancestral home for Barbados and the relationship they're giving to the Sankofa bird. As a media entity, we are delighted to say that the Sankofa bird, like he says, that we'll go back to go and pick up what we've left behind, but not to speak about the horrific stories, the sad stories, the teary stories, but stories that are giving us hope that tomorrow, whatever the light is going to be, or how taking the darkness is, there's this light at the end of the tunnel. And we are the ones to project that light at the end of the tunnel. Hence, Adwa TV's presence here. We are ready for the service come 22nd of August. The virtual stream that is going to go on, and it's going to be on Facebook and YouTube. Others can pick onto it and then also share the stream at their own comfort. We'll also be sharing the Zoom link as well, that our friends too from the diaspora can also join intermediately. And I'm grateful that our senior broadcasters, that's the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, is also part and parcel of it to do their own bid from the Caribbean section. And when the embassy is also fully established in Ghana, we are so grateful to say that we would partner with the embassy fully, and then they are going to join itinerary, whereby we have been given some media outlets, some embassies, 1 month celebrations, a week celebrations to project the culture and values of these countries. And Adult Television is more than ready to partner with our friends of the Caribbean, that is the Barbados mission in Ghana, to tell us more about the unsaid stories about the Caribbeans, and then as well as the Barbadian people. And the Reverend made mention of Reverend John Rogers made mention of the faith link that we are going to establish. Adult Television is ready to support this faith link that we are establishing between Ghana and then the Barbados. And the reference to the 18th century Kofi, the king of the Barbados. This is an history that most people need to know. We need to unearth it, and it's only going to take a powerful media tool like adult television to unearth such a story.
Excellent, 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 Reginald. I'm very, very enthused about your enthusiasm to really partner CBC to bring Barbados or Ghana closer to each other. And that's what we are looking for. We should not look at the distance. Let's use the media to bridge whatever gap that we have between these two lovely countries. Now, let me come back to the Permanent Secretary, the PS. What should we be expecting in terms of the level of trade between Barbados and Ghana? What are we looking for? You know, when it comes to trade issues, you know, is it going to be still importation, exportation? You know, how should we look at trade? Because what can bring us much faster, again, apart from religion and faith and other things, is trade relations. You know, how are we going to factor in the trade relationship between Ghana and Barbados? PS.
Thank you very much for that important question. Well, I would start at the point where I would say that Barbados is obviously very interested in fostering a deeper, stronger trade relation with Ghana. Right now, we import more from Ghana than we export to Ghana. We import different types of woods from Ghana and different items, and totally Ghana has the higher trade portfolio. So there is, I think we would all agree, scope for more trade, but also trade which is diverse, more diverse than just manufactured goods. We know that there's several services that we can assist each other with. I would have made mention of educational services, where the Barbados, the University of the West Indies, there's a campus here in Barbados, but the University of the West Indies has campuses in 3 countries throughout the Caribbean region, where they have signed an MOU with the University of Ghana, and this pertains to studies and students exchange in the medical area, if I recall correctly. There are other, so that's an important avenue which is going to be critical in terms of the exchanges between our peoples, bringing the relationship, the people-to-people contact closer, and helping each other understand what it is that the two countries in this modern day are, and where we can go forward together with, and what direction we can forge jointly together. Another area that we are going to want to see enhanced created are the air links. We would want to see eventually a scheduled commercial service linking Barbados, linking Bridgetown and Accra and Bridgetown and other parts of Ghana. Right now we've had charters which have come, and our people can hop through different cities to get to Barbados and vice versa. But we do need to establish that dedicated air link. This will facilitate the growth of trade that you started asking me about, but obviously the exchange of tourists, the flow of business persons, because although we have learned with COVID to do a lot virtually, we know that in some instances, in some cases, that in-person physical presence is still important. And obviously, for the tourism sector, which is a very strong sector in both Ghana and Barbados, it is critical. And finally, I would want to mention the diaspora links. Both Ghana and Barbados have pay a lot of attention, the governments, to our diaspora communities. In 2019, Ghana had the Year of the Return. And Prime Minister Miamor Motley was very pleased to be able to have as her first trip as Prime Minister of Barbados to Ghana for it to be during that Year of Return. And of course, 2020 was to have been Barbados's regathering, also a celebration of our diaspora, where we would have welcomed our family links coming from across the world. But that was overturned. That had to be adjusted severely because of of COVID. So you have asked about trade, and I've taken it in the broadest sense of exchange in several sections. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In 3 minutes, Senator Rogers, what will be the relationship with the church in Ghana and in Barbados? You know, do we hope to see some exchange programs? Do we hope to see some sort of movement, having a fair idea as to how the church in the Barbados is organized, and you also see how ours is also organized? You know, what will be the relationship as we move forward? Senator.
Thank you. As I mentioned, this is just an initial step, which I hope to mushroom into something much bigger, because while I cannot speak for the bishop at this point in time, I know that he is very excited about the prospects and the participation of the church here in Barbados with the church in Ghana. But I also hope that this will mushroom more to a provincial level, because within the Caribbean, there are 8 provinces, but they're in countries or territories that have all been fed from Ghana and the coast, as Permanent Secretary Rudder pointed out. So it is a common experience for us, not just in Barbados, but throughout the Caribbean region, where the church in the province of the West Indies carries out its mission. So I'm hoping that this can be the start of something even much larger, where our entire province gets on board and starts making those linkages with our brothers and sisters across the Atlantic on a faith level. And that will then help to buttress the other aspects that we hope to be derived from this interaction, which Permanent Secretary Rudder would have pointed out, and of course, Mr. McCaskey from CBC would have also mentioned. So this is just the start of something really big that I hope we can have, and we can have some cultural exchanges. I was at church yesterday, and the cultural and commercial attaché was present at my 7 a.m. service, and he brought 2 gifts from Ghana, which were, he'll tell you what they are. I can't remember the name, but those lovely necklaces that the women wear. Okay. And so there are 2 women in St. George Parish Church who now have. So thank you. We've already started.
That's interesting. Thanks. Venerable, any closing thoughts on the relationship? 2 minutes.
All right, yeah. As part of the initial discussion with Phil Phillips and Senator Rogers, plans are far advanced for the 2 bishops to come up with an MOU. And between myself and Senator Rogers, he has been sending me some clips of his church services having to do with these church links. And I'm sure, like we do in the Inaugural television, some of his parish services can be aired on Inaugural television, yep. And ours would also be given the same attention. And we hope that maybe in the very near future there could be some exchange programs, either training. And see, we have something in common. Anglican Church is made up of either a high church or a low church or a charismatic. But the 2 of us, Barbados and House of Accra, in fact in Ghana, we are both high church. We use a lot of incense, a lot of candles, and the service pattern is not different. Just that the hymns and other things. So they will learn a few of the NRC, also learn a few of their choruses, and we hope to increase our spirituality and then brotherhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. CBS, should we see more cooperation between ADWA and CBS? CBC?
Absolutely, of course. Content is king for a radio station or a television station.
CBC?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. We could not...
CBC, can you please unmute?
Absolutely. Content is king for a radio and a television station. And there is in Barbados right now a thirst for more of Ghana. People want to know what is happening in Ghana culturally and vice versa. In Barbados, we want to continue that exchange and present to Ghana what is happening here in Barbados. And here at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, my colleague, the head of TV8, Jewel Ford, she has already entered into discussion with a station in Ghana where we can start to facilitate that exchange. It will be hard news, and of course it will be the documentaries, the drama, and those other cultural exchanges. But at the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation, we stand willing, ready, and able to facilitate that and bring Ghana, the Republic of Ghana, to Barbados, and vice versa.
Good. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
On that note, let me thank all of you for this wonderful day. And I'm most grateful to the Permanent Secretary, Simon Radar, Senator Rogers, Bijolai, and then CBS for the insightful presentations that all four have made. And we pray and look forward for August 22nd, where we'll roll out the first virtual church service. And that shouldn't be the first. That should be one of the processes that we hope to carry along. Even if once a month there's an exchange program in terms of, in respect of church service, that will slowly bring us together. On that note, thank you very much.
God bless.
So God bless you all, and have a wonderful. And let me finally thank Adwa TV for hosting us in their wonderful studios, bringing us the facilities so that we can, have the connection with CBC. And I'm also happy that CBC has also done the same. And two stations, are now beginning to show fruits of what relationship is all about. On that note, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of the day. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
Goodbye.
Pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you both.